Hi, this is Carrie, and it's time for a Brookaholics meeting. Everyone, please grab your coffee and take your seats. Okay, let's get down to business. Everybody's situated. You got your coffee, your soda, your tea, your adult beverage, whatever it may be, and popcorn. We're going to watch the verdict together tonight. I thought we did watch this at one point, but maybe not. Let me pull it up real quick. Now, I'm going to go back to, this was over 5 hour stream. And what I want to do is listen to what happened early in the date. He must have, I don't remember this, y'all, but he must have gone in and changed or something. Because when we start out, he's in his orange. And we all know that all he does is throw those clothes on top of his orange. So you got some oatmeal? Oh, where'd you get your oatmeal? Darnisha brand. Oh my gosh. We should call, no, you know what we should call it, John Bubba? It should be called Judge Doro's oatmeal. And she's on the side of the box holding up her oath of office. Her whole seal of a judge, whatever they get when they're a judge. Their whole thing that they, you know, Their certificate. That's the word I'm looking for. Certificate. All right, here we go. Let's just watch the beginning of this.
Thank you. And sir, for your appearance this morning?
You think he'd know it by heart at this point.
I'm not sure if I even have everything. I apologize for that.
It's all right. When you're ready.
What, did you just wake up?
Here is third-party intervener in that matter, appearing as authorized representative for my client.
Maybe he did just wake up.
Except for value in return for value, all of the charging matter and make my exemption available for discharge of all obligations and charges connected with this case. I do not dispute any of the facts and the charging instruments and make a reservation of all of my constitutional rights, mostly the First, the Sixth, and the 14th Amendments.
Thank you. The record to reflect that the individual known to this court as Darrell is present in custody in person. He is wearing his jail attire this morning. I do want to make a record that at 8:46 p.m. yesterday, I did swear in 2 additional sheriff's deputies who would be working with our jurors through the overnight or third shift hours. I did administer the same oath that was administered to all the other bailiffs yesterday evening. Then, of course, we are open and the jurors are here and they will be instructed to start their deliberations. The only other thing I would put on the record is I have received information regarding the Reddit post that there was a subsequent post from that website indicating that it was a prank. And so I don't know to what extent the sheriff's department is looking into that as well, but it's my understanding based on news reports that that entire post or site was taken down.
Oh, you know what? I didn't realize I readdressed it in court again. See, I don't know if I've actually watched this part, y'all, to be honest with you, because he's not acting out. I only did the stuff on when he acted out. Really quickly, what I wanted to state was it only took less than an hour, less than 2 hours, right, for them to come back. They were like, well, they probably all sat down. They closed the door. They sat down. They all looked at each other and they went, really? Really? We know he's guilty, right? I mean, let's just not even fake this, right? Let's not even play games here. Let's put it all out on the table, literally. Well, we got at least act like we're taking some time to do this. So let's just order some lunch. That's my opinion of what happened. I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe it was breakfast. Maybe they had it door dashed in from the Waffle House.
Not the site of Reddit, but it's no longer, I believe, viewable. But there was that additional information regarding that, at least from the administrator, I believe, of that post. So I just wanted to put that on the record. And if and when, or I should say when, the investigation is completed, I will assure the parties that you will be provided with that information.
So,
go ahead.
So it's being called a prank.
Per the Reddit post itself, yes.
So we don't have any idea if that's a fact, though, right?
You're correct. I'm just putting on the record the additional information that's been reported on. And then again, once the sheriff's department concludes their investigation, it will be turned over to the parties. So at this point, until there's a question or a verdict, courtroom will remain open. I'm going to be working in my office on other things and will be available, of course, if there are any questions or if a verdict is reached. So notify the parties.
Judge.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
I'm still very concerned about this whole
Reddit post.
Reddit thing after having the chance to fully read it and look at some of the language that's in it. Um, it's very concerning.
It's
That's why
alarming.
there's an investigation, sir. It's anytime there's an allegation that the
Clearly.
integrity of this judicial process has been compromised, especially with a juror, I take that incredibly seriously, which is why I turned it over to the sheriff's department.
I would like Your Honor to, if it pleases the court, and if it pleases Your Honor, I would like to look at some alternatives. If I may bring up the in regards to the language, I also want to state that for the record, this did not come about from the prosecution side, from the defense's side, and certainly not from Your Honor's side. Um, this is something that just pretty much sprang up. Um, a lot of my concern, though, just not from just the language in the actual post, but um,
Yeah, he's gonna ride this out until she makes him shut
I was
down.
kind of concerned that I was the last one to learn of this information. It had been known. Uh, I wasn't aware of it until after 6:30 last night, um, or around that time, because I don't want to misquote the record, but somewhere around that time.
It was shortly after 7.
Oh, so it was after. I didn't know. I thought it was. I knew it was after 6:30, but I didn't want to incorrectly state um, the record. Your
I can
Honor,
address that for you right now if you would like.
yeah,
She's like,
if
just
it
go and get it
pleases
out.
if it pleases Your Honor, I would like to request some alternatives to this issue. Um,
What's your specific request?
my specific request would be to
He don't
look
know.
into a mistrial and also any alternatives
It is Reddit Gate. I didn't realize that,
along those
Patty.
lines, short of that, or along those lines, or a mistrial. I was looking at some, obviously, yesterday was very, very long for everybody. And as you know, because of my status here in the jail, I'm allowed to have law library time up
Blackberry.
until a certain point of the evening, and then I have to shut it down per jail policy.
And you know he's all in
So
there. He's
I
always in
was
there
able to
studying.
find a few different things that I wanted to bring to Your Honor's attention, if I may.
Go ahead.
Um,
He didn't
one
go to law
being
library. His mother sent it to him.
United States versus Perez, 22 U.S. 579, and that specifically, I think it's referenced because that one is pretty old in itself, but it's referenced in a lot of the other case laws that I actually found. I think, and I could be, if I'm interpreting this incorrectly, I apologize. They kind of use that as kind of like the benchmark for what they refer to as manifest necessity. That's kind of like one of the leading cases that each one references in regards to issues similar to things like this when it comes into play. And it specifically points to trial judge's discretion. And I think that's kind of like the leading one. Also, I looked at Brown versus Rushton, 572 F.3D 198, which speaks to the language is basically, it speaks to the same thing. It speaks about manifest necessity. speaks about if there's an issue of exculpatory evidence, things of that nature. Um, Also, United States versus Bates. That's BATES 917 F2D 388. And that speaks of
Somebody gave this to
potential
him.
for an impartial verdict. Specifically, it says along the lines of impartial verdict, if an impartial verdict can be reached, or if a verdict of conviction could be reached but would have to be reversed on appeal due to an obvious procedural error in the trial. That's one of the main issues that speaks to. I also looked at Arizona versus Washington, 434 US 497, and that speaks to what I was stating before. It says neither party in a case has a right to have his case decided by a jury, which may be tainted by bias. And I say that because it certainly wasn't anything dealing with the prosecution. They had nothing to do with this. The defense had nothing to do with this, and certainly you, Your Honor, had nothing to do with this. But just for the concern factor, uh, the language, uh, it's pretty clear that this, if not directly came from a juror who
Pretty
sits
clear.
on this panel, it came from someone who sits in this courtroom every single day. The language, it directed towards you, Your Honor, directed towards having clear bias towards the defense. Some of the things that they quoted of having knowledge of is extremely concerning.
Extremely.
Extremely concerning. And then
Clearly.
going back to some of these case laws that I cited, it talks about something to the effect of the ends of public justice. But I think that is leaning more so towards the judge's discretion, I would say, at least from how I was interpreting it. Obviously, I'm not educated in a lot of the
No.
laws in itself, but how I was
Really.
interpreting it, this is definitely a concerning issue. It's definitely something that I would request Your Honor to take a long look at. Um, Look at some options, look at some alternatives. And those case laws I cited talks specifically about that, options that you, Your Honor, can look at and use your discretion to see if it's appropriate in any way. But I'm extremely concerned about this. If anything, for cautionary reasons, I believe, Your Honor, that you definitely should take a look at everything I'm saying here in these case laws and
What's the request though that you're making based upon the case law that you cite? I heard in there mistrial, but I want to make sure I understand your request for relief and what it is.
You say request for
Relief.
relief.
What are you asking me to do based upon the information that the limited information we have about the Reddit post and this trial?
I guess my request would be, because of the concern of this, to look at a mistrial or at the very least, a discharge of the jury at this time. So this can be resolved. This is alarming, to say the least. Um, this
Oh,
post, and I don't know what Reddit is, to be honest. I've never heard of it or used it, so I don't know the extent of. It's almost like this could be like a snowball type of thing. It can start with something that's this small, and then it can snowball out of control into something totally different. I don't know the extent of this website. Um, I don't know who. Well, I think the name of the person who sent the to who alerted the clerk, of course, uh, to this post. I think his name is in the email. But then that even begs the question of, how did this person come across this site? What is their significance to this? What is their role in this? It's just so many questions, and I mean, clearly this points at the court's integrity. It points at your integrity, Your Honor. It's alarming. It's very alarming. And if there's a chance that there can be hidden bias in this jury, it needs to be addressed now rather than later.
really?
This is very concerning.
Shh. Bridger thinks it's clearly concerning too.
Well, thank you for bringing up your concerns. Let me turn to the state if they want to respond, and then see what other issues they want to cover this morning.
Judge, the original post was on a subreddit thread called Justice for Darrell. That's the copy that the defendant has in front of him. That post was edited last night, claiming that it was a prank from the start, and that the original poster didn't think it would get that far out of hand. The way that Reddit works, the only person who can modify the content of the original post is the original poster, and because the jurors have no access to any electronic devices, I think it's safe to say that our 12 jurors back there are not the original poster. So I think that puts that issue pretty much to bed. It's still obviously under investigation because the court takes it so seriously, but there really is no actionable or any real reason why we should doubt the jury's being unbiased in this case.
I object to that on the grounds, Your Honor, that, like you just stated, it's an investigation going on. And if there's an investigation, then that clearly says that something is amiss. We have 15. We have 15 jurors. There's still too many questions that we don't know. Too many. I don't think anything's put to bed because we don't know. It's unfair to say that the issue is put to bed when there's still so many questions left out there. I'm sure you reviewed it yourself, Your Honor. You see the language in this, whatever it is, thread. I don't know. I don't know what this is. It's clearly a post from somebody who has intimate knowledge of the trial and what's going on in the trial. I don't think. I mean, common sense would tell you that this is someone who's very close to the case, whether they were intending to be funny, whether they were intending to try to prank the court or anything like that. We don't know. That could be anybody's guess. The language in this, the way that it's formatted, they lay out 4 specific points of what they think. They point to certain language in the case. They make references to saying when we were in the room. they got certain feelings from when deep where they specifically refer to themselves and a group that would be we, plural. They say, and I have to admit, I am biased against the defendant for the horrible acts he did, and they attack you, Your Honor. They clearly attack you. This is if this is someone's idea of fun, is anybody's guess, but I don't believe that it is, clearly by the way it's formatted and by the language that is in it. This is clearly someone with intimate knowledge of the case and what's going on. Clearly. There's no other way. There's no other way to interpret this. You can tell by what they're laying out in the language that they're speaking with, that this is clearly someone close to the case. And because of that, it still has to be, I'm informed of the investigation, but there's still too many questions left in the air just from this. How can we say anything's put to bed when there's still an investigation? For all we know, what if this turns up that it was someone on the jury, or what if it turns out that more people are involved in it than just whoever this anonymous person was who left the post? It's too many questions and it's too concerning. What if something like this springs up again at the last minute? We've been going through the trial now for basically 3 weeks, the better part of 3 weeks. And even in court days leading up to the trial, we've never had anything like this happen. Nothing like this has been brought to your attention. Nothing like this has been brought before the court's attention. This just came out of the blue, and now all of a sudden it's being labeled a prank. Is that because they were found out? I mean, it begs so many questions. It's too uncertain. It's too concerning, and it's too alarming. It's too alarming to just overlook and say, "Oh well, we'll just set it to the side and let it." No, this there has to be some type of alternatives, and something has to be done. Something, and if that's a mistrial, if that's discharging a jury, if that's some other type of alternatives that can be looked at, I'm sure that these case law speaks to other options that could come into play. They deserve to at least be looked at, if anything, to protect the integrity of the trial. I find it very hard to believe that this close to the trial being over, now all of a sudden these issues are being raised. So this is obviously not a prank, and it's obvious that this is someone with intimate knowledge. It's very clear to me.
Well, let me address your concerns, sir. I cannot make conclusions at this point about whether this is legitimate or a prank. What I know is as follows. I received the information about the subreddit post at approximately 9:30, 9:40 yesterday morning. I alone made the decision to withhold advising the parties because of where we were at in the trial, because there was nothing in that post. It was an anonymous post that would lend credibility to that it was in fact one of these jurors. But out of an abundance of caution, I referred it to law enforcement, because it is very serious if the integrity of these proceedings were to be put at issue by a juror. I'd remind you, though, every single day these jurors were read the bulk of jury instruction 50. They all took an oath, and I have no reason to doubt that they would violate that oath at this time. So I made the decision to withhold telling the parties because we were in the middle of instructing the jury. I was in the middle of instructing the jury. And I wasn't going to delay the proceedings because it was so speculative at that point and remains speculative at this point. As you know, the case went to the jury. I brought this up. I waited about a half an hour once the case went to the jury. Frankly, we had had a long day. I wanted to get a bit to eat, and then I wanted to come back out and make a record of what I had. Once again, the forensic unit with the Sheriff's Department has taken lead of this investigation. I'm not a part of that investigation. Law enforcement will handle it. From my perspective, not only did the Clerk of Court's office receive emails regarding this, it sounds like the district attorney received emails. I may have even gotten one. I don't remember the time. It was later regarding the post. Frankly, people figure out my email all the time. It was not solicited by me in any way, and I did not respond to it. And I simply forwarded that email on to law enforcement. So it's pretty clear to me that a lot of people have access to Reddit. I personally am not a user of Reddit, so I don't know the ins and outs of it, other than it is a social media site where people can create accounts and post, and there can be like chat rooms, for example, or just various, as this is called, subreddits. And at this point, you've requested a mistrial. You've requested that I discharge the jury. I'm declining to do that at this time, sir. Again, I need to make decisions based upon the record that's before me. And right now, the record is speculative. There are no facts to support a mistrial or discharging the jury. I trust the parties will continue in their own independent investigations, that you will continue reviewing case law, make whatever requests that you deem appropriate. I certainly will take time to look at the cases you have cited to see if there's anything based upon the requests that you have made that I would need to further review. But at this time, I do not see grounds for a mistrial. I do not see grounds to discharge the jury. That is how I will address it at this point. I know the state, I believe, wanted to address something else. I'm not sure if that was it, but you had deferred to Mr. Brooks. So go ahead. Is there anything you want me to address or at least bring to the court's attention at this time?
Just a minor point, Your Honor. You had noted the defendant is in his orange jail uniform today. It's my understanding the jail did offer him the ability to put on his street clothes, and he declined. So I just wanted that on the record. There may be occasions where this jury has to be brought into the courtroom for one reason or another, and he should be in civilian clothes if that occurs, if he chooses to.
It's a good point to bring up. It is possible the jury would need to be brought out. Any question that I need to answer on the record, if for some reason the technology were not to be working appropriately when videos or other evidence are displayed to them. And so it is possible that the jury would need to come out. Of course, they'll come out if and when a verdict is reached. So I would certainly give you the opportunity, sir, if you want to change into the street clothes, that I would certainly direct the Sheriff's Department to make that available for you, should you choose.
Isn't it my choice?
Yes, it is.
So why do I need to be in street clothes? Why does that need to be on the record? That
your choice should be placed on the record. So
if not, I was offered to be in street clothes. If I made it the choice.
Do you dispute that, sir?
Yes, I dispute it because it's my choice.
Well, no. Do you dispute that you were given the choice this morning? At this point,
there's no reason why that should be on the record. That if I was not offered street clothes, what relevancy does that have to?
Could have potential relevancy later on if we were to challenge that you and claim that you are required to wear your jail uniform or jail attire. You're not required. This is a trial. You have the right to wear street clothes, and I will certainly provide that opportunity should you wish to change at any point in time. But what you're telling me is it's your choice to be in jail attire. I'll respect that choice, of course.
So why does that need to be stated for the record?
I just indicated why, sir. So
I don't see the relevancy of it.
All right. At this point, unless there are any further issues, I am going to go back into my office. The courtroom will remain open, and we'll let you know when the jury communicates with us, either about a question or verdicts.
There is something that needs to be addressed, subject matter jurisdiction.
The
Why
court
hasn't-
declines that. I'm stepping off.
Why hasn't it been proven on the record yet? And
She's like, no, I don't have to answer to you on that anymore. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. All right. So Cindy was asking me about, or she was asking the chat about when his next court date is for his Milwaukee case. And it comes up on May the 3rd. That's when they're meeting for like a status hearing. But then that's a Friday, May the 3rd. And then following Monday on May the 6th, the jury selection starts. It will be a jury trial. So we will be on it here on this channel, and we will be live streaming it. Now, you guys were talking in the chat about him being moved to a different prison. I just looked. I couldn't find anything on that. Everything still has him at Dodge, or any other addresses I see show his mother's mailing address. So, all right, let's move this up to when they actually read the verdict. So bear with me, guys. I mean, I would be surprised if they moved him somewhere where he, if he's, I guess, how far away would that be from the court though? Because why would they move him really, really far away if they know they got to bring him back into court in a couple of months? I don't know. I just wonder about that. Does that make sense? Did I hit play for crying out loud? Oh yeah, it's playing. It's just so hard to tell when this thing starts. Here, let's move it up a little bit. It'll happen here in a minute. Frankie gets so excited when I come on live stream, you guys. He starts panting and walking around and drinking water. He's like over 100 pounds. So, when he starts panting, it's loud. So if y'all hear that, it's not me panting, okay? Just so you know, it's the dog. Hey, Janice. What'd she say, Janice? Where you at, Janice? I thought I just saw you say something. It's speculative. And you are not getting a mistrial or dismissal of jury.
Record in State versus Brooks appearances are as they were before. I would make just one note that Mr. Brooks is now present in a suit. And I will also advise that at 9:43 a.m. this morning, I was advised that the jury had reached verdicts in this matter. And without anything further, I'll have the jury brought out.
Your Honor, I don't consent to being called that name and would like to address subject matter jurisdiction for the record that has yet to be proven.
Your objections are noted. I will not be addressing subject matter jurisdiction. Please bring the jury out.
Would it be proven for the record, Your Honor?
Just a reminder to everyone that I do expect
Trial's over, boo.
everyone in the courtroom to demonstrate appropriate decorum and courtesy as the verdicts are read and refrain from audible responses. Any disruptions may result in removal from the courtroom.
No, I don't think they ever found out who called in that threat. John Bubba.
Your Honor, is that a tacit agreement not to address subject matter jurisdiction for the record?
Jury's coming in. All rise, please.
I respectfully object to that ruling, Your Honor, and request the legal reconsideration of your ruling
Does he realize that trial's
for
over?
the record.
Your requests are noted, sir. We will not be addressing that further.
For the record, may I respectfully reject that ruling and take exception to that ruling, Your Honor.
Yeah, he's fixing to get pissy.
Is that a tacit agreement and a judicial determination that you don't have to answer that question as a public servant, Your Honor? For the record, may I request the legal or factual basis for your ruling, Your Honor?
It might have been a false alarm.
For the record, may I respectfully request a written judicial finding of fact and conclusion of law on this issue, Your Honor?
All your requests are noted for the record. They all are denied, sir. All rise.
He's throwing out his Hail
Jury is coming
Marys.
in.
For the record, may I respectfully move for an interlocutory declaratory appeal on this matter, Your Honor.
Denied.
For the record, may I move to stay these proceedings until this instant matter is adjudicated by a court of competent jurisdiction?
Denied.
Based on what law or fact, Your Honor?
Yeah, they figured out it was just it
Is
was
that
a joke.
tacit agreement that you don't have to answer that question?
The Reddit post
For
was a
the record,
joke.
Your Honor, as a public servant. You don't have to address admiralty
wasn't
law or
him.
common law if this court is operating under admiralty law.
We will not be addressing any of those issues. Thank
Respectfully
you, everyone.
object,
Please
Your
be
Honor.
seated. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, have you picked one among you to be the foreperson? All right, and I see it's juror number 11. Have you reached verdicts on all 76 counts?
Yes.
All right, would you please hand all of the forms to the bailiff?
All right, I'm going to go on mute so y'all can listen to this. Maybe that's why it's so hush hush, John Bubba. There's nothing in the media about it.
Your Honor, seeing is that we've reached a verdict, is it necessary that I have these shock devices on my ankles?
Chocolates. Glenn said Judge Dora was too happy to read this verdict. She gave zero cares about what he was saying. Yes, Bob Kitten. His mommy sent him no nonsense papers. Somebody email me that link, Jean. Jean, do you have my email address? Will you send me the link, please? He's not allowed electronic mail or pics. That makes sense, though, that they wouldn't allow him to receive electronic mail. I bet he's getting a lot of hate mail. And a lot of fan mail, too, probably, as sad as it sounds. Yes, if you don't mind, please hit that like button if you're enjoying watching with us here tonight on this Saturday evening. And welcome to the Brooksaholics Anonymous meeting. I forgot how long it's going to take because she has to read every single one. 76 charges. Wasn't it 76 total? Bob Kitten said, hammer time. Yeah. He knows. Look at him looking at him like, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you all. You just wait. Do you really think, I don't know, do you think, Private Eye, that he thought that he wasn't going to be found guilty? Surely. He knew he was. He wanted his nullifications from the jury, Janice said. Patty thinks he's going free.
And I have confirmed that there are 76 signed verdicts.
Thank you, Callie girl.
76 unsigned verdicts. What I would expect. All right, I will read each one into the record. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree intentional homicide as charged in count 1 of the information, dated this 26th day of October 2022, signed by the foreperson, juror number 11. If you find the defendant guilty of first-degree intentional homicide, answer the following question, yes or no. Did the defendant commit first-degree intentional homicide while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree intentional homicide as charged in count 2 of the information. Did the defendant commit first-degree intentional homicide while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes.
Burn in hell, you piece of shit.
Hey, you are to be removed right now. You will not do that. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree intentional homicide as charged in count 3 of the information. And I should state as to count 2, it was signed and dated by the foreperson, same as to count 3. Did the defendant commit first-degree intentional homicide while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree intentional homicide as charged in count 4 of the information. Dated this 26th day of October 2022, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree intentional homicide while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree intentional homicide as charged in count 5 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree intentional homicide while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree intentional homicide as charged in count 6 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree intentional homicide while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 7 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 8 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 9 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 10 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 11 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 12 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 13 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 14 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 15 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 16 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 17 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 18 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 19 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 20 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 21 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 22 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 23 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 24 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first degree, recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 25 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 26 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 27 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 28 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 29 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 30 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 31 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 32 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 33 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 34 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 35 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 36 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 37 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 38 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 39 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 40 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 41 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 42 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 43 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 4 of the dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 45 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 46 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 47 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 48 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 49 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 50 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 51 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 52 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 53 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 54 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 55 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 56 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 57 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 58 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 59 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 60 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 61 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 62 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 63 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 64 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 65 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 66 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 67 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of hit and run as charged in count 68 of the information. Did the accident involve death to Virginia Sorensen? Answer, yes. Dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of hit and run as charged in count 69 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the accident involve death to Leanna Owen? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of hit and run as charged in count 70 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the accident involve death to Tamara Durand? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of hit and run as charged in count 71 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the accident involve death to Jane Kulik? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of hit and run as charged in count 72 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the accident involve death to Wilhelm Hospital? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of hit and run as charged in count 73 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Did the accident involve death to Jackson Sparks? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of bail jumping as charged in count 74 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of bail jumping as charged in count 75 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of battery as charged in count 76 of the information, dated today's date and signed by the foreperson. Mr. Brooks, would you like me to poll the jury?
Yes.
Members of the jury, I'm going to ask each one of you individually to stand up, identify your number for the record, and then state whether the verdict's read in open court are your true verdicts. I'll start with the foreperson. And I'll read your numbers first, so it's a little bit easier. So juror number 11. Were the verdicts read in open court, or are the verdicts, let me rephrase that. The verdicts read in open court, are those your true verdicts?
Yes.
Thank you. Juror number 3. The verdicts read in open court, are those your true verdicts?
Yes.
Thank you. Juror number 6. The verdicts read in open court, are those your true verdicts?
It is.
Thank you. Juror number 14. The verdicts read in open court, are those your true verdicts?
Yes.
Thank you. Juror number 19. The verdicts read in open court, are those your true verdicts?
Yes.
Thank you. Juror number 27. The verdicts read in open court, are those your true verdicts?
Yes.
Thank you. Juror number 34. The verdicts read in open court, are those your true verdicts?
Yes.
Thank you. Juror number 41. The verdicts in open court, are those your true verdicts?
Yes.
Thank you. Juror number 45. The verdicts read in open court, are those your true verdicts?
Yes.
Thank you. Juror number 46. The verdicts read in open court, are those your true verdicts?
Yes.
Thank you. Juror number 48. The verdicts read in open court, are those your true verdicts?
They are, Your Honor.
Thank you. Juror number 51. The verdicts read in open court, are those your true verdicts?
Yes.
Thank you. I should state for the record, I did have the alternates brought back in. Obviously, they did not deliberate, but it was important to have them because there are certain instructions I give at the end. All right, Mr. Brooks, are you satisfied with the polling of the jurors?
No,
I'm sorry?
No.
no.
The court is still satisfied with the polling of the jurors. The court now accepts the verdicts. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of myself, the citizens of Waukesha County, and both parties here, I want to thank you for the time and attention that you've spent on this case. Your service in this case is now concluded. There's no requirement that you maintain secrecy concerning what happened in the jury room, but you do not have to discuss the case with anyone or answer any questions about it. On behalf, again, of the court and all of the parties, we thank you for your service over the last 3.5 weeks. You are discharged and free to go. All rise for the jury, please.
That was 7 men and 5 women on the jury. Hey, Bob Kitten got a membership. Cool. You're absolutely right, Mel. He was immature to the very end.
Thank you. Be seated. Anything from the state at this time?
Your Honor, the state moves for judgment on the verdict as to each and every count.
Anything from you, Mr. Brooks?
What is judgment?
Given the verdicts from the jury here today, the court will enter judgments of conviction based upon the verdicts on all 76 counts. Court will also revoke bond. In this case, I plan on bringing the case in Monday, this coming Monday, the 31st at 1 p.m. to address further scheduling. What I would ask the parties to do between now and then is to determine how long you think each side will need to present their sentencing remarks, whether you anticipate anyone speaking on your behalf. If so, how many, how long, so that I can then look at my calendar and adjust and make sure that I have the appropriate amount of time to do that. I'm not going to sentencing on Monday. It is just for further scheduling at 1 p.m. before my afternoon case.
Judge, would you be willing to consider persons appearing by Zoom for sentencing?
Yes, I would not do anything different than what I've been doing since we started utilizing Zoom, and that is to make it available for both victims and family members of the defendant if they so choose to make statement over Zoom.
Okay, thank you. That
You're welcome.
helps us in our planning.
All right. All right, then. Thank you, everyone. We are adjourned for today. We'll see you all on Monday.
All right, so I pulled it up. If you're late coming in, we've got on Tuesday, Brooks was moved to a new facility, and we're going to look at some photos of it and talk about it. I've got it all pulled up here. I'll stop sharing that. And I'll show you guys. And thank you for those who sent me this. I know Laura did and Callie Girl. Okay, Bruiser. Bruiser is so pissy tonight, you guys. He just cannot settle down. I know. He's excited that you guys are on watching with us. And for those of you who do not know who Bruiser is, he is a 5-pound little black. He used to be all black Chihuahua. He's now very salt and pepper because he's so old. He runs the house. He runs the house. All right, let's just share this tab. Okay, so basically what you're seeing here is the information of where he is. It doesn't put his whole ID number on there. But it's Boscobel, Wisconsin. Am I pronouncing that right, Tony? I need some of you Wisconsinites to tell me how to pronounce that. So if we go over here to, let me see what this fact sheet looks like. Oh, okay. Let's look at this fact sheet. The religions in there. Oh, wow. 27% Islam. Wow. To 8% Catholic. Let's see. The average age is 38. And the youngest is 18. The oldest is 87. 33% white, 60% black, to 14% Hispanic, or 5 and 1% add up. The remainder are American Indian or Asian descent. Interesting, huh? So there's only 70%, I'm sorry, 17% of them are lifers. But 52% of them are 5 years or more offenders. Most serious offense type, 91% violence. It is a maximum security. Only 5 are in there for drugs, 3 for property. So most of them, it's for violent offenders, which, what does that mean, you guys? What does that mean? 91% violent. Yeah, exactly. These are the bad boys. We're going to look at the photos here in a second. Cognitive intervention these are the programs they have. Anger management. Well, you think he needs that? I would think he does. Domestic violence, dialectical behavior therapy, thinking for a change, pre-release services, and substance abuse disorder. He needs all damn of those. Damn all of them. I can't get it out what I wanted to say. He needs every damn one of them. Let's see. So, a little bit about this place. They have a handbook and everything. I've never looked at this kind of stuff before. Let me see what it looks like, if it's worth showing you guys. Do y'all want to look at this? Oh, this one's in Spanish. Wait a minute. Oh. Hang on. I'm looking at this before I bring it up. I don't, you know what though, guys? He's not, I just can't see him. I cannot see him really defending himself a whole lot. I'm sorry. I just can't. He's a wussy. He only beats up women. This is what cell cleaning, what they have in the manual about cell cleaning. You're responsible for keeping your own cell clean and for placing trash in the proper containers. Cell cleaning is limited to 10 minutes. You will be allowed to access to cleaning supplies during weekend cell cleaning times. Oh, when do they do counts? They do counts at 3 a.m., 6:15 a.m., 11:15 a.m., 4:15 a.m., 9:30 p.m., and 12 a.m. Standing counts 6:15 a.m., 11:15 a.m., 4:15 p.m., and then 9:30 p.m. A minimum of undershorts will be worn during standing count. You are allowed to possess electronics in accordance with the inmate personal property and clothing. They provide televisions in all they provide televisions in all day rooms, which may be viewed at the appropriate volume level during the day room time only. Stations offered may not be the same as those available at other institutions. Music stations will be changed on a quarterly basis. I wonder if they have 90611 prisoner radio. Or a staff determined appropriate. Television channels may be changed by the institution at any time. Do not contact the program department with those requests. You are responsible for any damage to all electronics in your cell. If you are unable to plug all electronics into the receptacles provided, you will be responsible for purchasing a power strip or an extension cord. Wait, they have power? They have... John Bubba, are you still on? I might need you to come up, honey. They have plugs in there in their cells? What the what? You guys, I don't understand that. Hobby supplies, inmate complaints. Well, we know he's going to be reading that part because you know he'll be sending that in. What did it do? Let's see. What that is. Kitchen laundry. I didn't know they had to take care of their own thing like that. Now, this brings up so many questions. They have a law library. They have a law library. I guess we knew they did, huh? The law library will be available per unit schedule. If you wish to use the law library, you must submit an interview request to the third shift sergeant on the Saturday preceding the week of the request. You are required to attend as scheduled unless a priority appointment is scheduled at the same time. If you choose to leave the law library prior to the end of your period, you will be returning to your cell. If you cancel your law library scheduled appointment, you will not be released for other activities. Library books. Oh my goodness. Mail correspondence. Letters ready for mail should be placed. Let's see. Interview information requests and other forms are available in the unit day room. These requests should be used. Institutional meals will be served 3 times a day at the appropriate time, 6:30 to 7:30, 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 for lunch, and dinners from 4:30 to 5:30. Oh, they're early birds. They get the early bird special. John, Bubba, you want to come up? You want to come up and talk about this manual I've got pulled up here? John Bubba used to work at a facility. So did KC. I forgot KC did too. Are you still on, KC? All right, I'm gonna put the link in the chat. Hang on. We're gonna talk about this facility. I'm gonna send him this link, and before John Bubba comes up, I'll show you guys the photos that I have so far. All right, there you go, John Bubba. Let's go over here and look at these photos that I found of the facility. This is what it looks like on the outside. It's nice. That's what it's. There's only a couple of photos, so they're gonna keep carouseling. But I love that. I don't know, guys. I always just envision like the old timey prison cells, but I like that they don't really have a whole. They got that big steel door there with a little room to look out. Is that are all maximum security prisons like that? I guess. Oh, let me on my photo. Hey, John Bubba, hang on. I'm going to change the way we look at this.
Sure, take your time.
Good evening, John Bubba. How are you?
Oh, can't complain a whole lot. How about you?
I'm good.
Hopefully,
John Bubba, John Bubba, he worked at a prison facility for years and years. So he's going to give us a little bit of insight. What you think about this one?
well, I'll do my very best. It just depends on how the prison layout is, but I'll try to my best to compare it to Angola because that's what I know better. To try to help put it into my mental Rolodex, I guess you could say, so it makes the most sense.
Okay.
Let me see if I can increase my screen size so I can see that a little bit better on my end.
Thank you for doing this, by the way. Yeah, and I'll pull up after we. These are just photos but I can pull up that prison inmate. Do you want me to pull that other one up where we were looking at the manual?
Actually, is there a way you can stop it right there on that tier setup where those cells are, the big red doors?
Yeah, let me see if I can make it stop.
Okay. Oh, that brings back some memories. That definitely brings back some memories right there. Now, granted, where I worked at Angola, the cell blocks. Sophia, please get away from Daddy's Xbox. Sorry, I had to talk to my cat. She was sniffing near my Xbox, and she likes to sniff the power button and turn it off. Now, the way the cells were set up at Angola on the tiers where I worked at, the areas I worked, they were all on one section of the hallway to where they weren't facing each other like that right there. But what they'll do right there is they'll do a method called fishing, where they'll like slide something across the floor, and another inmate might have some string or something with something tied on the end to hook onto it to pull it into their cell if the guy can't throw it all the way underneath the cell doors. They would do that all the time. It wasn't in some facilities. They would sit there and throw them back and forth, and you try your best to try to catch them in time, but shoot, by the time you get the tier gate open, run down there to catch it, it's already long gone. You got to be like the Flash.
I was going to say, because it looks like you can't get anything underneath the door, but there's a little. Because look at how it's got the things on the bottom where they almost completely touch the ground.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes though, if you get crafty and creative enough, inmates can make a way to happen. If you put an inmate and a regular person on a deserted island, the inmate will last longer. They know how to make do with what they got. They can be some very creative people.
Yeah, well, I mean that's all they got to do is figure that kind of stuff out, right? That's all they have to worry about.
Oh heck yeah! If you'd have told me 30 years ago you could make a knife out of saran wrap, I never would have believed you until I started working in Angola. Then I became a believer.
Wow. I wonder what color. Well, I guess he's not wearing orange anymore. Are the prison colors red there? I wonder.
Depending on that facility, how they may have them set up. One prison I used to work at, LCC, red and white striped jumpsuits we called them candy stripers. Those were brand new inmates. They hadn't been fully classified yet. Orange were typically the trustees. Blue jumpsuits were the kitchen workers. Black and white, general population. Now, if he's being held in solitary, he probably would be wearing a orange. But if he's held under self-harm watch, he'll probably be in a turtle suit, or he might just be in plastic underwear, or
Mm,
well, not plastic underwear, but like paper underwear.
really?
Mm-hmm.
Are you are you looking at this photo right here? Because it says, let me read you what it says. It says the facility has a 3-tier security perimeter with 2 outer fences with razor ribbon throughout. The center fence features an electrical charge. Oh, they got chocolates that will activate into lethal mode when touched. This system eliminates the need for tower guards and or guard towers, and it saves millions of dollars in staffing costs.
Yeah, I don't agree with that because you always want to have a human being in a tower with a rifle. Because even though I'm sure they got backup generators and stuff to keep the fences working, to keep the electrified the hot wire going, but there's always a way around that stuff. If you know what you're doing, you can get around them easy. That's why you would always want that person up in the tire with that Mini 14, or in some facilities they actually have an M16 or something.
Yeah. I guess this is what they're talking about, the charges right here.
Yep. That's
Um,
what that looks like to me. That looks like a straight up hot wire.
so you got this fence, and then there's hot wire, this fence, and this fence, and this. There's like there's 1, 2, 3, 4 fences that you'd have to get through, I guess.
Oh yeah. And that concertina wire, let me tell you what, that stuff right there will cut you to ribbons. Oh dear Lord, will it ever? Whoo!
I just
Child, let me tell you.
Yeah, but don't you think it takes a lot of work and creativity to do a prison break? And do we really think that Brooks has that
You, yeah,
ambition? He does not have.
yeah. He would probably have to be riding with somebody who would have to be the brains of the operation. They'd probably use him as the fall guy or the distraction. If you, I'm sorry, if you're familiar with that TV show, The Walking Dead.
Yeah, I love that show.
Oh, same here. Remember back in season 2 when Shane popped old boy in the Otis in the leg and took off running?
Yeah. Well, I
That's
don't know
probably what
Otis.
the big old fat dude that was an EMT.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably what somebody would do to Brooks, to Darnisha. They'd probably end up pulling a Shane on him, leaving him while they took off running, leave him as a distraction.
Yeah. Throw him under the bus and keep going.
And maybe even literally throw him under a bus. Like, okay, we're
Yeah.
out. How we get out of here? Here, get up underneath this bus. Okay, now I'm guy.
Like you said, on all the different types of personalities that come and go through prison, he is definitely one of those. It's just he's a little weasel. He's gonna be somebody's little play toy. Um,
Oh, go ahead.
no, I was gonna skip over. Go ahead, tell me what you're gonna say.
I was gonna say, I guarantee you, more than likely, if they don't decide to put KOS orders on him, if they decide not to, or somebody decides to override that, he's gonna straight up be somebody's prison wife. I can tell you that right now. They're gonna be passing him around for a honey bun and a soup. I mean, more than
Oh, God.
likely.
Okay, don't say nothing else.
Yeah,
I want to get some money on this tonight's stream. I want to get paid. Okay, I'm looking at this handbook here. General population versus RH. What is RH? Did I lose somebody? Hang on. Restrictive housing inmate. Is that the one we want to look at? Oh, he got there. You there? Okay. We want to look at the restrictive housing or the gen pop. We don't want gen pop. We want restrictive housing, right? Is that the
probably
one?
best.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm sorry. It's hard because it's hard talking on this thing, guys, because we don't know when. But tell us what we want to look at here, John Bubba. Where do you want me to go with this manual?
I'd probably look at the not the Gen Pop, but the other one there. Let's see. Let me take a look right here. Okay, there's gonna be Gen Pop. I would probably have. Oh wow, I'm sitting there looking at that little list there. Electronic monitoring surveillance notice. Who? Huh. That's fun. Cameras watching. Oh Lord, that's boring as heck.
see where it says that. I don't want to put that
Oh,
up. Ugh.
yeah,
Okay.
the prison grape. Yeah, let's avoid that. Yeah. We love
Pursuant
you,
to
YouTube.
yeah, no doubt. Pursuant to the DAI Policy 306, electronic monitoring, available in the law library, is the purpose of this notice is to establish guidelines for electronic monitoring and recordings of offender activities without their awareness. This policy applies only to surveillance being done using hidden microphones, cameras, or other equipment. It does not apply to staff observations, visible cameras, intercoms, or other monitoring systems which offenders should be reasonably aware of. Through this form of surveillance, the institution will gather information on offender activities jeopardizing institution security. These activities include drug dealing, security threats, and disruptive group activities, escape plans, and other illicit activity. Information gathered regarding the offenders may be used in any fashion by the institution. Department of Law Enforcement authorities deem appropriate to include, but not to be limited to, administrative, due process, program review, parole hearings, and criminal prosecutions. So how it doesn't tell us where they're at though, where
Yeah.
the well
Basically,
what
it just Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Oh, basically, it just means there's going to be a whole bunch of cameras pretty much everywhere, and there's going to also be microphones recording and stuff. They'll mostly be in the areas where the majority of inmates congregate, but they'll also probably have cameras in the cells, especially these self-harm watch cells. That's when they'll have the most. Uh, that's where you'll be really under the strictest of surveillance and everything. So that way, if they catch you trying to make a do something to yourself, they can try to get a response to you quicker. Uh, but they'll also have them in the inmate gathering areas, like day room, the shower areas, and whatnot.
Let's go down and look at this because it talks about if you get down to restrictions and let's go down to 17 where it talks about restrictions and showers and stuff. I want to see.
Oh, Lord.
So they do get a recreational. I guess that's humane. It's inhumane not to give them some kind of exercise program.
Yeah, under federal law, they do, under federal and state law, they do have to get something like rec yard or either indoor or outdoor recreation area to basically to get out of their cell and to do something like some exercise, lift weights if the facility allows for weights. Because some they took the weights away, but it depends on the facility and the state as well. But they had to have something to do, like they can get out there and play basketball, maybe do some calisthenics, run circles, things like that. I know here in Louisiana, the way it used to be, I don't know if it still is or not, but they have to have a minimum, bare bones minimum, 4 hours of yard time a week, weather permitting. So they go out for 4 hours on a Monday. That could be all their yard for the whole 7 days.
Mm.
But typically they try to put them out on the yard every day unless the weather's real bad or something.
And then if they do something like if they do something wrong, that's something they can take away from them.
Oh, do they? Shoot, that was a free man. That's a free man slang for a corrections officer. There was a free man that I used to work with at one facility. After they got rid of me there, they gave me a choice, quit or be fired. He got hit in the head with a AA battery by an inmate in one dormitory. An inmate threw it at him. Nobody fessed up to the charge. So what did the chief of security and assistant warden do? They turned the TV off of that dorm. That dorm was the last to go to chow. That dorm did not have yard access for a whole week. Like they were in that dormitory, all 79 inmates, just locked in there, could not come out for church meetings, last to chow, no yard, no TV, no cards, no dominoes.
But that's fair, I think. If you're going to act up, you shouldn't be able to, right?
Oh yeah, they'd shoot because it's all about that control. If you'd let something like that slide, those inmates know they can do whatever they want, and you lose that security, you lose that control. So then it just becomes a free for all. What are we there for?
I think it's interesting that it says you can only take showers 3 times a week, and you have 20-minute period to take a shower.
Yep. In situations like that, where especially with the high security area, because typically you've got more inmates than you do officers, so you got to try to break it down into the time frame to service everybody. Now, at Angola where I worked at on the cell blocks, let's see, pretty much you got to shower like pretty much every day on your tier. Because let's see, there was 2 officers working 4 tiers, and there was about 13 cells and inmates. So I'll let somebody else do the math on that one because it'll hurt my
Yeah.
brain at this time of night. uh, yeah, 13 times 4 if anybody wants to add it up or multiply it or whatever. All right. So you could do half of them by day and the other half at night, and you could pretty much run through them. The only thing that's really tough about that can take a while is when you got if it's a solitary confinement cell, you got to get down there. You got to iron them up, take them out, put them in the shower, close the shower cell door, uniron them, let them shower, go back, iron them up, take them back to the cell, put them in, uniron them, go back, go to the next guy. And that can be some time consuming garbage. Ugh.
Ugh. Well, you know what I was thinking of? You were talking about them throwing stuff at the guards, and we'll just say human waste to keep it clean. But
Fair enough.
yeah, they throw stuff at the guards to be jerks. But it seems like in a prison like this, where you have these types of cells, and I'll go back to this picture really quick, just so everybody can look at it one last time.
Mm-hmm.
Right here, how you can't get away with that, because if you're really just hurting yourself there.
Well,
I mean, they might open that window up a little bit, but
well, if you look down there at the bottom, at the bottom of the door there, that looks like a feed tray, a tray slot where you can slide the inmate's food tray into, take the
yeah,
food tray out, maybe put books or whatever in there. That's usually the most dangerous time is when you got to open that cell, because the way you would approach it is when you walk up to that cell, you know, if they got something covering that window, you tell them take it down. They got a towel in front, whatever. The moment that little tray comes open, that's where it gets dangerous because they could try to gas you. And gassing is a nickname for when they throw the stuff on you.
yeah.
They could also have a homemade spear in there and try to stab you with it, or they'll have that shank and try to stab you with it or something like that if there's long enough, or if you get too close. Uh
Wow. But look at this,
oh,
John Bubba. Look at how.
hmm,
Okay, so the first 2 doors here on the bottom right, those look. I
mhm,
see where you're talking about the meal tray area, but when you
mhm,
look over to the right hand side, even further down, those have different types of slots. The first on the left, the 2 bottom left, are the ones with I see the meal slot trays, right? But if
mhm.
you look over on the right hand side of the thing, it looks like those are different types of slots.
Let me turn my
You
brightness up on my phone so I can see a little bit better.
wish I could
Okay.
make it bigger. I don't know how to make it bigger. Let's see if I can do that.
Oh, it's cool. I think I got it as big as I can get it on my phone there. Uh, so I
Ooh, that
see
makes it
down at
smaller.
the
Ooh,
because I see down at the bottom, I can see where you would slide your key in to unlock it to open to slide the tray in and everything. But
yeah.
now I do also see. So it looks like there might be 2 of them. Uh, one of them could shoot without being there physically to see it right in front of me. It's hard to describe, but it also looks like there is a good possibility that could also be a restraint, a way to put restraints on them as well down at the bottom. Like you would have the inmates stand up to it, facing away from you, have their ankles right up there to it, so you could put the shackles on them.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. While the top
Ah,
shelf right up there, like right up underneath where it looks like that window right there, that could be the food tray where they slide the trays through because they're typically not that thick. And
okay,
more than likely
gotcha.
they'd be styrofoam, but they might also be the plastic kind. But using the hard plastic kind are typically the most dangerous ones to slide through there because they could very easily be broke off to make a weapon out of. But they also inspect them too. When them trays come out and they see a piece of it's broke off, like, whoa, hold up, we're doing a shakedown right here, right now.
Mm.
And
Okay, let's
also,
go back over to this thing. No, go ahead
okay,
and keep talking. I'm just going to change the screen.
okay. And right there with that window right there, depending on what is in there, it might be the reinforced plexiglass, or it could very well possibly be just like a chicken wire kind of thing. Just depends on what's at. More often than not, it's going to be a reinforced plexiglass.
I was going to say I don't know, but That chicken wire, that seems like really old school, right? I think this prison facility is 25 years old approximately in that
Yeah.
age range.
So more than likely they'd be using well, it's not actual real chicken wire, but it's something similar to it. In some
Okay.
facilities they still use, but for something like that right there, they'd be using reinforced plexiglass. And they say that plexiglass is unbreakable. That's a dang lie. I sat there and watched a dude one time headbutt it in the cell and he broke it.
Oh my goodness.
Of course, this was also guy was very hopped up on some dust, and it took about four or five of us officers to take him down. And the biggest one of us weighed almost 400 pounds, and he was having a hard time struggling with the guy.
Holy crud. Okay, for those of you that are just coming in, we're talking about the facility where Brooks was just relocated to this past Tuesday. And the name of the facility is sorry. It's Wisconsin Secure Program Facility. The warden is Gary Boughton. It's out of Boscobel, Wisconsin. Okay, so John Bubba, you know what I'm looking at here? It says do not cover. It says in this thing where it's talking about the rules, it says do not cover your cell window, air vents, intercom, camera lens. Does that mean that every cell has an intercom and a camera lens?
More than likely, every cell probably would for that facility. There's a high chance probability every single one's going to have a camera in it. Every single one's going to have your intercom in it. Especially if there's going to be a woman coming down the tier, and I'm assuming this is like an all male facility. Let's say a
Yeah.
woman's coming down the tier, could be a woman CO, could be a woman nurse or something. They'll get on that intercom, woman on the tier, you better have your pants on. You better be covering yourself with your blanket or something, because if you decide you want to walk up to that cell door shaking it at her, guess what? Rule 21, S offense.
Okay, so they can talk. Obviously, they can hear what you guys are saying to them, but can they talk back to the security guards using that intercom?
Sometimes I know some facilities they do have the two-way communication, but then you have to flip a switch in order to be able to communicate to hear from them. Because
Yeah.
otherwise they'll sit there and just be pressing that button just to aggravate the fire out of you for no dang reason other than they're bored and just want to give you a hard time, hoping that you'll decide to go down there and act a fool and they get a lawsuit or something.
I wonder how often they open the trap door
Hmm.
because it
Oh, you mean?
mentions that about the cell light being turned on when the trap door is opened.
That's a good question. 'Cause I'm not used to ones with trap doors. Hey, Bruiser.
He's just when directed to come to the door for a cell search, you're expected to come to the door immediately. There shall be no organized papers, bedding, or issued or using the toilet before coming out. Oh, it says ensure your TV is turned off prior to coming out of your cell. So each cell has a TV. That's BS.
More than likely, it might be like a little 5 to 10 inch TV that's
Still,
see through and everything. Hell, to be fair, it on one hand it does suck majorly that they get it, but on the other hand, it's a way for them, for something for mental health, so that way they ain't in there going completely stark raving nuts.
yeah, but what are they allowed to watch? Are we talking about they got cable, they got Hulu, Netflix? What are we talking about here?
Typically, depending on the facility and its operating budget, it'll probably just have basic cable or basic channels. The number one things
So
that they'll be
so
watching. Oh,
I'm sorry. So you're talking like like ABC, NBC, CBS, that kind of stuff, or are you talking not like satellite or real cable? Because I'm thinking, could it be antenna TV type stuff?
it just depends on the facility and its operating budget. Like Angola, when I worked there, they years before I started working there, they gave the inmates a choice: air conditioning or cable TV. The inmates chose cable TV.
Really?
And it'd be the same kind of cable TV that you would get if you was on the street. The basic package. You know, and the typically number one thing the inmates would watch: sports out the wazoo. Uh,
Yeah.
Sports, the news, And every Saturday night, without failure, they'd be watching Soul Train, the Source something or other, and stuff like that. And God forbid if a Girls Gone Wild infomercial come on. God, my
You-
God.
You're showing your age, John Bubba.
I know. Jesus
No.
Christ. When those infomercials come on, I can't tell you how many times I had to walk up in that TV room. I'd start seeing guys' hands drifting down their stomach. I'd be like, hey, you better not.
I love Antenna TV sometimes. I do. I love to watch Antenna TV, but those commercials on Antenna TV can be prison in themselves. So, I mean, that's its own type of punishment.
Oh, yeah.
I
And,
was just they can
oh,
they
go ahead.
can
Go
have
ahead.
visits on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 to 11 or Saturdays, Sundays and holidays from 8 to 4.
God, visitation sucked. Oh, my God, did it suck. Because that's when you got to do the flashlight search on the inmate if they have
Oh.
a direct visitation, like face to face without a screen in the way or anything like that. You had to flashlight search them, and oh my God, that was horrible. Ugh.
Yeah, but don't you think at a prison facility like this, there got to be there's got to be something between them.
Oh
There's
yeah,
got
more
to
than
be.
likely.
But I know
Though,
what you're talking about, like the old school. I call it old school because or is it Gen Pop type stuff where
yeah.
they can hide it just about anywhere they want to hide it in themselves. Um,
So now that I think about it, a facility like this, more than likely they will have trustees, and those trustees would have something like a higher level of Gen Pop than other inmates. So they probably would get those direct contact visits where they could sit like at a bench next to their wife, kids, or whatever. And
oh,
let me tell you something. It is absolute nightmare having to do a dang flashlight search, especially when you get stuck doing one on a 450-pound man.
that is disgusting, John Bubba.
Oh yeah. Trust me, and I'm the one that got the short straw because I was the rookie on the ship. And, oh dear Lord in heaven, was it horrible? When
It
you got to
talks
sit there,
about. Go
oh
ahead.
go ahead. Oh, when you got to tell a man, all right, lift your stomach. Okay, lift your other stomach. Okay,
Eh,
lift your other stomach.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
Let me look at you. I gotta look at your rolls. Okay, so it says something about inmates in administrative confinement may receive 3 15-minute phone calls per month.
Yep.
That's it.
That sounds
I don't know why I always thought they got at least daily to weekly phone call off
depends
permissions.
on their status on their punishment status. It could be more, it could be less. Uh some they like you just said, they'll get that. Sometimes they might actually get a little bit more. It just depends on what they're doing, why they're in ADSEG or the dungeon, the hole, whatever you want to call it. Uh
So let's talk about the phases here. Now it
mm,
says that um it's well, okay. There's in this facility, it's considered a high risk or a maximum security facility for high risk individuals.
mm,
What we saw is like 70 something percent high risk individuals. So it says the security phases are designated to encourage your positive adjustment, blah, blah, blah. But you can be put into Gen Pop if you do the right things, right?
right.
Now, if we're talking about somebody like Brooks, who has probably a nice little bounty on his head, they're not going to put him in Gen Pop even here, would you think? I mean,
Mm.
was the whole point in moving him here so that it is more safe for him than you know what I
Well,
mean?
oh, I get you. On the one hand, it's possible they moved him there for his own safety because they might have got wind of too many threats coming against him. There might have even been an attempt on him that they might have caught early, to where it didn't fall through. Also, they could have possibly moved him there because of a risk to staff, like him constantly gassing and everything, and they decided to move him to a more secure location there where he's less able to gas somebody, or things like that. It just depends. I would have to see the papers really in order to get to it, but more than likely though, from what I've been hearing through the grapevine, that he's got a lot of bounties on his head. The number one ones that's looking at him right now, hardcore, are Bloods. That
Really?
they, from what I
Because he
hear
said he
now,
was a gang? Because of the
yep,
gang thing that okay.
because he was rocking red, and since now I just want everybody to understand when I say this, because this is all just hearsay grounds. This is all just hearsay. This is all speculation. This is just stuff I've been hearing through the grapevine. So don't take what I'm saying as gospel truth. Word on the street is that the Bloods, they want to take him out hardcore because he was repping red and he never got properly jumped in. So he's wearing stripes that he never earned. And if he gets put in Gen Pop with other Bloods, if he's got any ink on him that shows that's blood ink, they're gonna give him. They're either gonna make him take it off himself or they're gonna remove it for him. And knowing him and what he's doing time for, they're not gonna give him the choice. They're gonna take it off him for him.
I just can't see them allowing them to get to him, though.
Mm.
Well, you don't think so?
Well, more than likely though, at some point he may have to hit Gen Pop just because of just because of the way the laws are written, both federal and the state as well. He might, but then again, he might also be put in what's considered a protective Gen Pop, where smaller general population area, more protected. Something best way to think about it is certain elderly inmates that are more that are less of a danger, but to staff or to other inmates. So they put them in
Gotcha.
like a general pop area. So they might have an area set up kind of like that where they can stick him in. But the thing is, just because those guys got gray hair on their head don't mean nothing. They can still nut up. They can still handle their business. Some of them.
Oh, thank you, Janice. I missed this. She sent this over just about 20 minutes ago. I apologize, Janice. Thank you for your tip. I appreciate it. She said, I love this live. Thanks for bringing in John Bubba.
Oh, appreciate it, Janice.
Yeah, we got a couple of and Zephyr. Okay, well, I'll get to that. Let's leave this up for a minute and then we'll get to the other ones. I didn't realize we had people activity going on, you guys. I wasn't paying attention. Okay, so I want to talk about no, this is just interesting. I mean, we have something different to talk about when it comes to him. I guess I want to understand if he what about internet? Does it internet access? It says they could have electronic stuff in their jail cell. What type of electronics are we talking about other than a television?
Typically, the only electronics they can have are TVs, the small TVs that would be see through, radios, and that's about it. Maybe like a little. I know some facilities, like Walkman cassette players, they can have those as well. Some facilities have actually moved over to start doing CD players. To me, stupid freaking idea. That me and other corrections officers were talking about that when we were working in Angola. They started letting inmates have CD players. We straight up said that is the stupidest idea that they could do because you could break a CD and you got a shank in like seconds, and those things get sharp.
Well, that's the first thing that comes to my mind, and I'm not even in that job. So yeah, that's kind of dumb.
I mean, you could very easily just take a regular old CD, snap that sucker, and you got one heck of a slasher. And if it's got a good stabbing point on it, you got a heck of a good stabber and slasher. So you got a 2-in-1 blade right there that you can mess somebody's world up with in a heartbeat. So
let me go to the page that talks about electronics. It says inmates in high-risk offender and administrative confinement may participate in the HSED programs to apply for those. They're educational programs. That's not what I wanted. Sorry. Let me go back down here.
That's all good.
Limited video programming shall be available according to your status. If you are participating in education or treatment, you may be given a schedule of programming. Okay, that makes sense. But it says for inmates who do not own their own TVs, so they have to bring them in. With the exception of designated cells on Alpha Unit and Step 1 and 2 inmates, state issues televisions may be provided. Music stations provided through the television shall be changed periodically as staff determines appropriate. And if you are issued a state-owned television, you are responsible for any damage done to the TV. If you are found guilty of damaging or altering the TV, you may be charged restitution and or lose the privilege of having the TV, you shall not be eligible to receive a new television if you still owe restitution for a damaged television. I would think that there's more that are issued by them.
Yeah, more than likely they'll be taking some that belong to the facility. Like I say, they're not gonna be that big. They may be like 5 to 10 inches at the most, and they're gonna be like the old school kind of TV with the picture tube and the big fat back and everything. It'll be all see through, so you can look into it easily, see if anybody's hiding any contraband in it. They'll probably issue some of them to the inmates that are actually being good boys, following the rules, not acting a fool. And if you start acting a fool too much, that's snatch that sucker from you in a heartbeat. And as far as like what they like, the music that they can listen to and stuff, more than likely they'll probably be making them listen to like the softer kind of stuff, nothing real hardcore. Like they'll definitely not. They'll listen to some rap of definitely, but they'll probably won't let them listen to a hardcore gangster rap stuff. They'll probably cut that in a heartbeat, so it doesn't provide, because a lot of rappers are still in gangs and stuff like that, or have gang affiliations. So you might be listening to one dude who's sitting there repping blue, and you might have a guy who's across the hall from you rocking red, and next thing you know, y'all two start beefing with each other from across the hall, screaming and hollering at each other.
Yeah. It's just it's all got to be controlled. Well, they don't want to fight, and even in the area like in Gen Pop, they control the TV probably because it does cause fights if they don't.
Oh God, yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've had to sit there and go break up a dang fight just because one dude wanted to watch the Saints play, and one dude wanted to watch the news, and then next thing you know, here come they start throwing blows, or
Oh
one
man,
dude wants to watch Ricky Lake.
That's Friday night at my house. No, I'm just kidding. No, so let's talk about file reviews. Casey, she said, "Am I muted?" Hey, girl, you're back on. Do you want to come up, Casey? Let me know if you do. I'll bring you up. TV was the worst. I'm going to put the link in the chat for Casey only, please, y'all. So I'm going to invite her to come up as well, because she also did the same job for a very long time. I might just put myself on mute and let you two talk about this stuff. Y'all know more about it than I do.
To be fair, Casey knows way more than I do, because I only got 3 years of it under my belt. But I worked at one of the largest prisons in the United States as far as landmass goes, but I only got like 3 years under my belt.
I just got through watching Sons of Anarchy for the second time. I binge watched it, and you forget in today's world, because things have gotten a lot better. They're not perfect, but they've gotten better. But it's amazing that when you go into the jail system, it's black, it's white, it's Hispanic, it's Asian. They're all separated, aren't they? They all have their own. It's almost like they have their own little gangs inside of the prison, or I guess we could say we'll call them cliques.
Oh, do they ever? And there are gangs on top of gangs on top of gangs. I mean, typically white inmates rock with either the Aryan Brotherhood or neo-Nazi. Well, I don't know if I can say that word or not on YouTube, but
yeah,
neos.
I guess those are. Isn't that this? I thought that was the same thing.
If memory serves me right, they're actually two separate, but they also have like under branches of it too. Like let's say with the Bloods, you might have the East Street Bloods and the West Street Bloods, and with the Crips, you might have the Spook Street Crips, and yeah.
Is this Casey that just came on? You're muted.
Am I unmuted now?
Okay, that's her. Okay, I just want to make sure it was you.
Am I muted? Hey, John Bubba, how's it going?
Oh, can I complain? How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. My internet's been messing up today. I don't know why.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Might probably acting like a wild youngin' on sugar.
Sure is.
Hey, thank you. I'm going to let you guys talk really quick, but I wanted to say thank you, Zephyr, for gifting the 5-minute membership, honey. I appreciate you. And I'm going to just kind of sit back and let you two talk about this stuff and educate us a little bit, and tell me if you want me to move it around in this little manual we're looking at here on the screen.
Okay.
All right, I'll do my best. The first thing I'm looking at is the inmate complaints right there. Whoo, that brings back so many fond memories.
Yeah. And let's go back to the thing about the TV. The TV for me was the worst because, like John Bubba said, the you can't make any of them happy, and they get volatile really fast. I've seen so much go down because of the television, and it's just ridiculous. And it causes huge issues, don't you think, John Bubba?
Oh, the worst was during football games because they start getting loud. They start hollering and everything. And you cut that TV off, tell them get that noise down. They want to start acting a fool. Then I'd have to sit there and tell the dorm, okay, guess what? Y'all want to act a fool? Y'all want to hoot and holler? Guess what? TV's off for the next 30 minutes. Okay, make that an hour. You want to go for
Make
an
it
hour
a
and a half?
fucking week. Make it a week. Get out of here.
Yeah. And then I can't. Oh, and then worse, Super Bowl time was a straight hardcore worse because then, oh man, they were just straight up to gambling about it, sitting there giving out their property that they just lost. And I just literally just threw my hands up. I was like, man, if I got to sit here and write people up and lock them up for gambling, I'm literally going to lock up the whole dang dorm. And we ain't got enough sales for that.
No, that's for sure.
I just straight up said, all right. I mean, I remember one night, I can't remember which Super Bowl it was, but during the 7 o'clock count, I straight up stood up in front of the whole dorm after the count was cleared and everything. I didn't let the inmates up. I just said, all right, look, I know it's Super Bowl tonight. I know y'all gambling. Y'all know I know y'all gambling. Here's what it's going to go down. You going to do that in the back of the dorm so where I don't see it. And if there ain't going to be no fights over it, okay? There ain't going to be no daggone fights. You give that dude time to pay his debt because I don't feel like having to do all the paperwork on every swinging word in here.
No,
I had
paperwork.
to catch myself.
The paperwork in prison's not fun. It's
Well,
people don't understand. It's not normal.
shoot, especially when you lock up an inmate for something, you got to write that disciplinary report. Then you got to write up the use of force report. Then you got to write up the unusual occurrence report. Then you got to, oh dear God. Then you got to write it down in your logbook why this inmate was locked up, what time. Then you got to go do the inventory all their property, fill that out, and put it where you put it at in the inventory shed. Like, oh God, that paperwork was such a murder. You'd get carpal tunnel by the time you got done.
Back then, I didn't have it that bad like it is now. It's a lot more intense, it seems like. Got to remember, I've been out of it for a long time.
That's fair. Heck, it's been 20 years for me.
What are you guys talking about? Darrell got moved. Did he get moved? Or is he still at Dodge?
No, he got moved. He got moved on the 7th on
Where'd he go?
On Tuesday. Here, I'll show the tab. He's at
He didn't go to Supermax, did he?
It says it's a maximum security. It's Wisconsin Secure Program Facility.
Oh, okay.
It's at a Morrison Drive, Boscobel, Wisconsin. And were you not here when we looked at this institution fact sheet?
No, my internet was jacked up, so I didn't really get to hear too much. I was just kicking back, just chilling, and then I turned on my tablet, and boom.
I'll let you guys go over this really quick. If you want to comment on it and what's going on here. It's pretty cool, all this information they provide.
Is it? Oh, it's for the prison. Okay.
Yeah. From what I understand, this is basically a Supermax, from what I'm understanding. However, I can be wrong, but if it's straight up Supermax, oh, yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. If it's straight up, he's screwed.
Yeah.
He won't see the light of day after that.
Nah, he'll be in at 23 at 23/7.
Yep. And he'll be lucky if he gets out.
Now,
for an hour a day. He'll be lucky.
Yeah. If he's a good boy.
It is a maximum. No, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I keep going. I'm like a diesel sometimes. Takes a little bit to get wound up, but once I get rolling hard, it's hard to stop.
It's okay, John Bubba. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, but more than likely. Oh, I'm sorry.
Again. What did he do, or is it just for his own good? I mean, did he do something? Did he threaten something, or is it just for his own safety?
We just think he was moved for security reasons.
Yeah, me too.
My personal belief is it was either option A, there was possibly a confirmed threat against him that they were
Yeah.
able to either intervene in time to keep it from happening,
Green
or
light.
exactly like maybe somebody caught some wind that they had a surprise ready for them, get ready to do
Yep.
something, and they caught it, or it's very highly also probable too that he was just too much of a disciplinary and security risk towards staff, like constant gassing and everything. So they probably moved him to another facility where he can't gas them as easily.
Right. I agree. Totally. I don't think he's ever going to be able to stay in one place very long. Even in a supermax, he drives everybody crazy. Could you imagine being a prison guard for him? No.
Oh,
I'd turn my head every chance I could.
Well, wait a
I would-
minute. If what I mean, at some point, the man is not. We know he's not. He's not that smart, but he's also not
Oh,
stupid.
but
I
he's
mean,
street smart.
well, supposedly. But my point is like, how he's going to know what's in his best interest once he gets like that, and his best interest right now is making sure the guards, are his friends, I guess, to an extent. So he's not. You would think he's not going to act out, and you would think that he needs them to protect them.
you would think it, but the thing
But
is,
yeah,
idiots like him, I could already tell you right now, they got a code word, they got a term for inmates like him. Ball breakers. All right. He will sit there and just be acting up in the hopes that either a CO goes down there, handles his business on him, and he could either get a lawsuit going, or he might end up, or in his sick, twisted mind, they might handle him up so hardcore they may have to cut him loose. But that don't never happen. But
right.
more than likely, he might tick off the wrong CO. That's like Teflon. Nothing can stick to him, and they go
Yeah.
handle his business on his butt. And he's gonna be walking around there with his jaw wired shut.
How much of like when they do a complaint, like now let's just talk off the record here. Treating prisoners fairly. Is it up to, is it the warden that controls that, or is there somebody in between the warden and the guards that kind
Oh
of
gosh.
say this is how it's going to happen?
There's lieutenants, there's sergeants, there's everything. It's just like when I don't know about John Bubba, but when I went to get my job, I had to go to actual boot camp for 8 weeks, like cadence and all back in the day. Now it's not like that at all, is it, John Bubba?
When I was there at Angola, I went to the
Yeah.
David C. Knapp's Corrections Officer Training Academy. It was a 3-week training course. Basically, it was a
Jeez.
combination. It was like being a combination of being in high school again, the military, and being an inmate yourself.
Yep, exactly.
Now, as far as these like inmates complaints go, it depends on the facility and their way they're regulated it. Inmate files, like let's say I'll just use LaSalle as a good example where I also worked at. Inmate files a complaint, it goes to the chief of security. All right, chief of security looks it over. Now, if they file and they decide to either go with it or throw it in the trash can, if it's an ARP, that goes to that would go to the sheriff of LaSalle Parish or the warden, one of the two.
Mm. Hey, really quick, I don't want to mean to interrupt you guys, but I just want to say, Teresa Baker, thank you, honey, for being a member for 3
Where's
months.
Laura?
Let me tell you what you can do to make that green thing pop up. If you go down to the bottom of the chat where it has, is it the $sign, you guys? I think it is.
Yes.
And and if you have, like, when you've been a member, I think once a month you get a free thing, right? So check that out, because as a member, they give you like a free super chat, and that's where they're getting those green things. So if you guys are a member and you're not using those, you should use them more often to say hey and all that kind of stuff in the chat, because I will put it up more.
Those super stickers and super chats.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's go back over here to what we were talking about, these inmate complaints, because okay, he's gonna be like you guys said, he's the squeaky wheel, right?
Yep.
Oh, I can guarantee you, he's gonna be filing a complaint on everything. Like
everything.
He didn't get enough eggs on his breakfast tray. His shoes got a hole in it. One shoestring longer than the other.
You talked to him and you didn't talk to me. All kinds of crap. I don't know. He's such a puny little shit, though.
Right.
I noticed that years ago, there was a female prison guard in this facility that had to go to court for something. I guess she was breaking the rules. She was having personal meetings with, and I'll leave it at that, with one of the inmates.
Oh, Jesus, I could tell
that
so
was
many
real.
dang stories.
I know it, huh? They don't. It's
Oh,
oh my gosh.
funniest one that I ever heard of, and to this day I still crack up laughing when I think about it, was when they caught one woman at Camp F at Angola. Camp F is the trustee camp, right? The high level trustees. Like if you're a trustee who gets put at Camp F, you dang near a free man, is what they say. So this woman CO, she was letting this one inmate come out of that dorm into the Sallyport, in the Sallyport building where she worked at, and they'd be getting busy. Well, rumor got around to it. A couple of captains were hiding up in an unmanned guard tower. A major climbed up on the roof. One major was up in a tree, all watching that building. Sure enough, that night he come walking out there, bebopping, all happy as can be, walking to that building. Walked in there. They waited about 10, 15 minutes, and they busted that door open, caught her. You know, they caught them both getting after it. They made her put on an inmate jumpsuit, stand at the front gate, fully ironed up and ready for the West Feliciana Parish Sheriff's Office to come pick her up.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, come on now.
But I mean, you know what they say, forbidden fruit's always the sweetest. But god dang, I ain't about to sit there and throw away my life and my career and everything for no inmate. Oh heck no.
What y'all?
No.
You remember the two that had the same last name, the little blonde sheriff that just this recent case for that tall guy. What was his name? Y'all know who I'm talking about. Where she got him out and they got called out on the run together.
Yes.
Yeah,
What was her name?
God,
Casey White. Casey White? Is that the
Yes,
name?
I think so.
I know the last name's White. I don't know about the first name.
So
I hope I'm not blessed with that.
When I was looking at it, it looked like she was close to retirement or whatever. And I was just like, I guess if you spend enough time, and of course, that's, where you spend a majority of your time is at work. You spend enough time with one person and you're dealing with major manipulation over there. These guys know how to manipulate people. And
That's
they got
all they
nothing but
have
time.
to think.
Yeah. How can I mess this person up in the head? So I just kind of wonder what could happen there. I guess it could happen to the best of them.
Yeah, nobody's immune. All it takes is that there's a guy that one old instructor of mine once said, inmates can make the best psychiatrists and psychological profilers because all they do all day is just watch people, learn human behavior, learn everything. Within 10 to 15 minutes, they can pretty much tell the person's entire life story. They can just look at how they walk, how they carry themselves. Is this person a trauma victim? Is this person ever served in the military? Has this person ever done this, that, and the other? And then 9 times out of 10, they're right on the nose.
Yep. Yes.
I was looking at I was going to pull up some other stuff on this prison just to kind of. Let's change this. I'm going to share this tab. Anything in here y'all want me to open up on this? Scheduling court calls and virtual court appearances. Okay, do we think he's going to be... We know he can't represent himself on this upcoming Wisconsin charge, right?
No, he cannot.
So is because of where he's located now, do we believe that he's going to be present via Zoom the whole time?
Depends. It's going to depend on the judge.
Yeah,
they might move him over there and make him leave again,
More than likely, what I'm willing to bet on is due to cost effectiveness and the cost of transportation and everything, and cost of housing him from one facility to another and moving and all that stuff. They'll probably just have him appear by Zoom, more than likely, because it'd be a whole lot cheaper.
That's what I was thinking. because they had said, I think they told Erica if she wanted to appear by Zoom, she could. But,
Really?
but I guess it's one of those things where it's like they have to be really cautious on how they do it. Like they can't mute him, can they, and all that?
Oh,
Why?
if he's not representing himself, if he's the defendant and not acting as his own attorney, they can mute his butt in a heartbeat.
Super Kelly, who I always want to say call Super Kellogg because of the G at the end. Super Kelly says, why can't he represent himself? Well, because this case is intimidating the witness. I think that is why the judge said no. But the judge said no, he can't represent himself in this case, from what I understand.
That's my
I believe
understanding.
that's what I understand too. Yeah, that judge probably said, look, you in here for intimidation of a witness. You ain't about to sit here and intimidate this witness on my stand representing you. That ain't happening here, Jack. No.
I was looking at this prison. It says information on programs and services that are available to inmates. But let's see. It does say that as far as video conferencing capabilities, court hearings between persons in our care in the Wisconsin court system, the court calls and virtual court appearances may be scheduled by contacting the court scheduler at the facility. The inmate and offender search tool may be used to locate a person in our care housed within a DOC facility. The court schedule list may be used to identify the designated facility contact. And I guess that's just how you get in touch with them to do that. Sending and receiving an inmate electronic message. Now, one of the people that sent me over some stuff said that he cannot receive. I did not see where it said that he could not be receiving electronic mail, but it makes sense.
Yeah, more than likely he himself wouldn't. But some of the inmates are allowed some internet access, but it's very regulated.
Yeah, it's very limited.
Right.
I don't even think they can use Google.
I don't think so either.
I don't think they can use Google. There's just certain apps that they can use that the prison has.
Can they watch? Right. Can they watch his trial on YouTube like we have?
Sometimes I bet you so. If they have illegal phones and crap, hell yeah.
Casey took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say more than likely using the facility computer, no. But at the same time, they probably got some phones that's been smuggled in. They probably sitting there watching YouTube, probably was watching the whole trial.
Oh, hell
I wouldn't be surprised if while he was being held at Dodge or at Milwaukee, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the inmates on his pod was hollering at him or something, grounds.
Probably.
They were in there doing the same stuff we were doing.
Yeah. Hey, John Bubba. John Bubba, could you imagine what it would be like transporting Darrell from that prison to another prison and all them inmates all know about him and what he has to go through just to get booked into that place? And then people know who he is. They're not going to forget who he is.
Oh, child, let me tell you, I would hate to have to be on that Grey Goose with him, having to listen to all them other inmates.
No way. No. I'll pass. No.
Oh, I can tell you now, I'd be having that shotgun in my hand. I'd be racking that sucker almost every minute like, I'm about to, y'all shut up.
Boom. I don't know. I think Darrell, too, when the judge wanted him to go back to his cell, you know why I think he really didn't want to go? Because here he is. He's got to be marched in there with the suit, tie, go into his cell, get what he's got to get, and get pretty much mouth raped the whole way there and the whole way back. Those inmates probably scream at him,
don't say the R word,
yell at him. I mean, he's got movement. Everybody's watching him out their little window. When they come get him, everybody just busts to the doors. They start looking through the windows, and they got him. They know how to deal with him. All they needed, one person's going to get the one chance, and he's going to be dead. Somebody will kill him. I'm swearing to you.
Yeah, ixnay on the R word,
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, YouTube already skinned me. You know that thing I did yesterday? That's okay. You know the thing I did yesterday? Am I on mute? Am I muted? No. Okay. That thing yesterday that I did on Sarah Boone, I was on top of that. And I was like one of the first ones to get on top of what was going on as far as her court hearing yesterday.
Yes, you were.
And freaking YouTube last night, at some point last night, I don't, or maybe it was this morning, freaking limited my monetization on that thing, and I'm now having to wait for it to be reviewed. And it sucks because
What?
it's like they keep doing that to all of us. They
Why?
keep doing that. I don't know. And 9 times out of 10, every time I have to get it reviewed, it comes out to where they're like, "Oh, okay, this one's okay." Okay, but for 3 days when the video was new and everybody was watching it, you've demonetized me. The most popular time that people view the video. Oh, don't get me started, you guys. I'm so mad with YouTube right now.
Oh, I know.
So,
Gotta love that YouTube algorithm bot. That thing, I better shut up before I say something bad.
Yeah. Or else
And
you
I
have to just make up little code words.
I don't know how I feel about the shorts either though, because I like to use the shorts as like trailers to get people to come to my channel.
I like
But
your shorts.
do you? Well, thank you. But do you? You know, you would be one that would come and watch a video after watching a short. But I wonder how many people are just in there to watch the shorts just to be flipping through shorts for the entertainment purposes of just watching something quick. I don't know how many people it really brings over. But yeah.
Well,
Don't get
I
me
don't know.
lying.
What did Matt said? John, you haven't said anything. Half of us already said here. Smiles.
What?
What you mean? What you
What
mean,
you
Matt
talking about?
Cannon? What you talking about, Matt Cannon? I don't think he's being mean. He's being funny.
Where is he?
Yeah, I'm just trying to keep it very, very clean on air so I don't get Carrie in trouble.
Yeah,
But now,
I did really good today.
oh yeah, now if this was an unfiltered, let it all hang out kind of talk, oh believe you me, I'd be cussing like a French sailor with Tourette syndrome. I
Me
ain't even gonna
too.
lie to you. This is
It's
probably the longest
easy.
I've ever went without cussing.
Yeah, me too.
Well, we could do a members only maybe one night and I'll do an off monetization, and then we could do it that way. That's one way to let you guys let it all hang out.
Oh, you're gonna want to strangle me then, especially if I start telling some of my prison stories. You're gonna want to choke me in a heartbeat then with my yapper.
Yeah, me too.
But you have to remember, most of the subscribers, it's our geriatric Baptist convention is what they like. I think that's what Barbara Seals calls it, or it might be Patty that calls it that. I think that was so funny. All right, let's talk about sending money, mail, property to an inmate. It says that they can get mail, they can get envelopes and packages, must be labeled with the inmate's full name on it, blah, blah, blah. I guess this is just like people can cash pay today, affiliate walk-in providers, cash pay today. Can they not? There's got to be an online way to send them money, right?
Yes.
Jails have set that up, I'm sure.
They've been using that system for a long time.
They have a daily limit of $2,900.
Yeah.
I know. I remember back in the day, the only way you could send money to an inmate was through a money order, and they would put that money on his books and everything.
It was like not instantaneously either. Took them a while to get it sometimes, and they get mad. But they're the ones that ran out of money. That's another thing. Commissary, man, I'll tell you what, them days are crazy. You find out who's got the money and who's the drug people when it comes to commissary. You know who's king when it comes to that.
Oh, every dormitory, every prison in the U.S., possibly, well, I don't know about the world, but I'm just going to say in the U.S., every single dormitory that houses multiple inmates always has a store, man. Every single one. And that dude be selling his stuff like even higher markup costs in the commissary, because a lot of times he sells it to the guys that can't get commissary because they got not so much they don't have the money.
Family won't help them. There's a lot of reasons.
Right, so he's selling it for higher costs. Like that pack of cigarettes, like let's say it's $10 for a pack of cigarettes in the prison. I'm just throwing a number out there. He's selling his for like 20
$40. These days, I bet it's a lot more than that, John Bo, because you know what? Cigarettes are so expensive and people have to smuggle them in. I bet they pay out the butt for those.
Oh, yeah.
Because see, when they send the money, you know, a lot of people send money to a person. Like, okay, say if John Bub was in there and I'm in trouble, so my friends would send money to John Bub and then John Bub would buy my commissary. I don't know how much that happens anymore. But back in my day, it was a huge thing, you know, loading someone's books for them. I don't know if you can do that anymore.
Well, it says in here that like they offer a package, like a personal care package.
Mhm.
for, toiletries, I guess, and whatnot.
Sure.
Now it says that, and I know you guys know all this stuff, but for those of us who do not, I'm going to kind of go over it a little bit. But it looks like you can do like a monthly or quarterly thing. But here it says that they have to be in Gen Pop in order to receive such a thing. So, Casey, you weren't here when we were talking about this. Do you think he's in restrictive housing?
Yes.
Okay, so he's not able to get any of that.
He's not. He's not allowed to get any of that. Remember, all his money, 50% of his money, he doesn't get because what
No,
the
I'm.
judge
But
when
this
it
is
comes
talking
right.
about. Yeah, but this is talking about like if his mom wanted to send something to the jail or buy
Well,
his
it,
packages
it,
of. If this is like sanitary stuff.
okay.
If memory serves me right, how they would set that up, he cannot get stuff out from the outside. Like he can't get shampoo, soap, or stuff from the outside. It's strictly got to be from the commissary or what's the issue to him by the facility. And what they usually issue you from the facility might be like those little hotel soaps, basically. That itty bitty little
Mhm.
bar. You use it one time, it's done, pretty much. So you'd be having to like try to recycle that as much as you can.
I wonder what that stuff costs. I wonder how much they jack up the prices on it.
A lot. A lot because I know that I don't know bonds and all that kind of stuff. You learn what people do and don't. I kind of spaced out what we were talking about for a second. My internet just went beep.
Yeah, basically, it's more expensive in prison than it is on the street because
Yeah.
prison's they're gonna want to make their money back anyways because it's basically it is a profit business, for profit place especially, especially if you get a private prison. Oh God, those are just man.
Like
It,
body
go
wash
ahead.
that we would pay like 99 cents for now, they pay about $8-9 for it. Like something cheap. Suave, isn't that
Yeah.
body wash? Well, they'd have to pay about $10-11 for something like that.
Okay, I like that.
Commissary is really expensive now, especially for like wanting your own.
Good.
But personal from the prison, you might get a toothbrush that the bristles will fall out of it. You might get a little black comb. I'm not all sure what they give you anymore. John Bubba, do you? They don't give you toothpaste.
Vaguely, I know. Depends on the facility as well. I know. When I worked at Angola, what they would give you is they would give you the one toothbrush. That's like the cheapest little brush you can get.
Yeah, like a hospital toothbrush.
Right. One tube of toothpaste, one little thing of soap, a towel, one pillow, the state issued mattress, state issued pillow, of
One
course.
sheet, one
Uh,
blanket.
one sheet, one blanket. Uh, let's see, the one pillowcase as well. And one holy book of whatever you choose, of whatever your faith is.
Mm.
Darrell is the book. The book.
Oh yeah, and I
All right.
guarantee. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, you're good, hon. Bruiser's getting restless. Okay, so we've been on for over 2.5 hours, so I'm gonna go ahead and start to close out for the night. I'm gonna let you guys have your last couple things y'all want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Casey. I'll let you go first.
Oh gee, I don't know.
You better go first, John Bubba.
Yeah, you go first, John Bubba.
All right. All I was gonna say is mainly I just know Darnisha, I guarantee if he ever does land in that Gen Pop, and let's say it's a few years down the road, he actually does hit it where he thinks, where hopefully he thinks, or in his mind, hopefully everybody's forgot about him. There's gonna be people that'll remember him, and it's gonna be war up in there to see who gets to him first. But from what I hear through the grapevine, like I was mentioning earlier, it's either going to be the Bloods that get him first, or it might even be Hispanic gangs that get him too, because some Hispanic people were hurt in the parade. So from what I hear, Hispanic gangs, they got KOS orders on him, like on the spot.
I think a lot of people do. Like I say, it's just going to take him one person to be in a little bit of the right time. That's all it's going to take. They'll be a martyr. They'll be famous for taking out Darrell Brooks.
Oh, the person that makes their bones taking him out, man, he's gonna be a prison celebrity, man. I mean, they gonna be like, shoot, he gonna have all that juice. Whenever he
Yeah,
walks up in the day room, they're gonna be like, yo, oh, yo, man, you want to watch TV? Oh, man, what you want to watch, bro? It's all you.
I want him to suffer a little bit though. I think he needs to suffer more before that happens. I'm sorry. Why'd y'all get quiet?
Oh, I don't blame you. Oh, I don't blame you. Shoot, I wouldn't mind it. Heck, shoot. Hopefully, before they decide to take him out, he gets married up to that dude Rhino that I told, or the guy like him or something, and he gets to be introduced to the pet dinosaur.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. I want him to be. I'm sorry. That's just, and that's not a very Christian thing to say, but it's a lot of people. Oh, Casey's internet's going in and out. If you want to come back up again, Casey, you can. Um, okay. So Janice, thank you again, honey, for your super chat. She said, Carrie, read Tony's description of Brooks is being removed from the W. Tony, what did you hear? Tony's got a friend in the sheriff's office, I guess. The sheriff I know is a pretty tough guy, and they had a dog. He said Brooks looked very scared, and all the officers were in SWAT gear. Let me
Oh, I
see.
remember hearing about that. That whenever
What?
he was getting moved, I think from I think he was getting moved from Milwaukee to Dodge itself. They had him in a van or one of those big SWAT vehicles, something like that. Then they had the guys in full tactical kit, ready to roll. More for for Darrell's for Darnisha's protection. I don't know why I called him by his real name. He's Darnisha always. Uh, More for Darnisha's protection than they were for theirs, because they knew he wasn't about nothing. But in case somebody wanted to do something, they were fully kitted up, had the dog and everything. And from what I hear, I believe it was Tony that straight up said it himself. Like, yeah, that dude was like shaking like a leaf on a tree in a hurricane. That's how scared he was.
So that was the first time he was moved. That wasn't Tuesday, this past Tuesday when he was moved over to this new facility.
It's possible they did the same thing too. More than likely, if they did have a high level transport like that, they probably would have the attack team fully kitted and ready to go. More for his protection than theirs, because while he ain't gonna do nothing, somebody might try to do something to him, and they might hurt officers trying to hurt him. You know.
Okay, so Tony, answer. Hey, are you talking about that was the move from Waukesha to Dodge? Okay, yeah, that's what I was just going to ask you. Okay, thank you, Tony. I appreciate that. Thanks for the information.
I'm just curious what kind of dog it was. I just wonder if it was a German Shepherd or if it was maybe a Belgian Malinois. God, I can't pronounce that word.
Malinois.
That's him. I just wonder if it was either one of them, because God, it'd be hilarious if it was something like a Cane Corso.
He may not be scared of women, but he'd be scared of that dog staring at him and growling. I'd love it. I'd love it.
Carrie, I'm 6'2" and I'm 225 pounds, and let me tell you this, I'm scared of them big old dogs. All right, let me tell you. I mean, I don't want to mess with one of them sons of guns. That thing's just about as big as I am, especially that Cane Corso.
I love it. I love it. I love it. But you know what? Yeah, but he hasn't met my chihuahuas. You're absolutely right, Matt Cannon. But he would be scared of a chihuahua. But chihuahuas are bad, man. They're badasses. Might be a small bite, but it's a tough one. If you've ever been snipped by a chihuahua before, you will know. So
I can't stand them little dogs.
oh my, yeah, a lot of chihuahuas are nippers. I've had a lot. That's what I did when I was in rescue. I took a lot of mean chihuahuas in and rehabbed them and stuff. Okay, so let me ask you guys this. Or let me say this as we close out here. I lost my train of thought because I gotta stop looking at the chat because I get my ADHD kicks in. Do you think we're going to talk one more time about him being transported right to and from the facility for court? I just feel like every time they transfer a prisoner, just like Tony said, you got the SWAT guys out there, you got to get the dog out there. It's people, it's time, it's a lot of money. It costs money to do that. And it's also dangerous because there could be an escape plan. There could be something like that. So for me, I just feel like it's not going to be one of those things where they would want to be transferring. I mean, they would only transfer him one time. They would transfer him for the purpose of the trial, leave him there while the trial's going on, and then bring him back, right? But still, that's 2 transports. That's high risk. Am I correct?
Yeah, that'd be very expensive because, I mean, let's just say, all right, I believe Tony said it was like 5 guys. All right, let's just go with 5 officers, okay? All right, you got 1 driver, then you got the 4 in reserve as well. All right, let's say each one's getting paid. I'm just gonna throw a number out there. Let's say $20 an hour, okay? All right. So
Okay.
let's just say, all right, and let's say it's about a 3 hour trip to transport him. So that's 20 times 5. All right. That's 200. And then you've got, let's say it's a 3 hour trip. So then you add the 3 hours worth. Then you've also got the cost of the fuel for the vehicle and everything. And those things ain't exactly the most cost effective when it comes to gas mileage. Let me tell you that right now. So they would have to stop for fuel and everything. Let's see. You could be easily looking at one trip. I'm just going to throw a number because I'm too lazy to do all the proper math. Let's just say $600 just to take him on one trip. All right. All right. Uh, Probably more because I'm just too lazy to do all the proper math. So forgive me, everybody. So let's just say $600 to take him on the one trip. All right. To the court. Then you got to house him. Then you got to hold him and everything. Let's say they keep him there at the Milwaukee jail while he's doing that trial. All right. Then you still got to house him in that facility. Still got to feed him. Still got to provide medications and everything. That's going to cost as well. Then you got the cost of the trial itself. Once the trial's over, then they got to take him back to that prison. So there's about another, let's say, $600 to $1,000 right there. Altogether, you're looking at maybe about 15, maybe let's say 15 grand just for that, just for those crimes.
Yeah,
So
Casey said
yeah,
around $1,200. She was thinking, yeah. Yeah, and
yeah.
that's just too because they wouldn't be doing it daily. Obviously, they would be doing it for, okay, let's get him down there when the trial starts and then we'll bring him back or whatever. But yeah, this just doesn't make sense. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to go in to figure some things out about how we're going to be streaming this. So because even if I do feel like with Milwaukee is going to be covering it, there's going to be a news station in Milwaukee that'll be covering his trial, but I want to have a backup plan, and so I'm going to be researching some of that before then. But that doesn't come up until May, and this little son bitch is going to go to trial. Excuse my language, Mama. He's going to go to trial when I'm going to be trying to get my son at the pool because that's I can't wait till the summertime. I hate winter. So I'm going to have to that's just not going to be good, but I'll be here. And I wonder how many days a trial like this would last. I don't, you're not talking about a ton of witnesses, right?
I'm more than likely that might be like a 2, maybe 3 days at the most, and that's really pushing it.
You think
More
so?
than likely, it ain't gonna take too long. I mean, if memory serves me right, the charges that he's looking at in Milwaukee right now, uh, intimidation of a witness, and I think there's also DV as well. Uh, those are the main two that pop into my head. I can be wrong if there's more, but yeah, it's not going to be too long.
I
It
don't
might
think
be
so
like,
either. Yeah.
yeah, it might be 2 to 3 days tops, and that's really pushing it. But now, if he decides he wants to start acting a fool, well, they'll just mute his butt and probably just continue in absence and everything, and all this. They'll probably just bring him back like when it comes time for a jury or something. But then again, he might take a plea deal before then. But I
Nah.
doubt that. I doubt
No,
that.
he's not gonna do that. He is not gonna do that. Laura said, I'll go up there and watch it for you if you want me to. Laura, the thing is that even if you were allowed to get in there, they're not gonna let you do any kind of cameras or anything. That all has to be approved. So I feel like we're gonna be watching it on Zoom if we want to see him anyway. So I'll go ahead and have that set up and ready and going. All right. Well, John Bubba, thank you so much for being here with me again this evening. We always love your commentary and your education. And thank you again, Casey, for being here and giving us all this back uh, what do I call jail yard info on what's going on in the prison system and what old boys looking at back there.
I know private talk, Gary. Just try to do my best.
Well, I appreciate you, honey, and you stay safe, and I will see you for sure. If I don't see you before then, I will see you at the next Brooks Holics meeting that we have here, which we're gonna try to have at least one a week. Okay, guys.
Oh, good deal. Cause I gotta have my fix. I've been addicted now. I just gotta have my fix.
I know, and I know sometimes I just feel like y'all come for the free donuts and coffee, but that's just me, But okay.
Hey, now, just because I get my fix of my Brooks and I get my fix of my donut and my coffee, especially with extra jelly.
All right, everyone. Y'all have a blessed weekend, and I'm on the fence as to whether or not we're going to come on for the Super Bowl tomorrow night. I might end up having to go to I might have to go socialize with people. I really don't want to, but I might have to. So I don't know if I'm going to be on, but I don't like to do Sundays because it's the Sabbath, but it's Super Bowl Sunday, and I thought if people hate football, they might want to get together on here and chat. So we'll see. I don't know. No promises. Good night, everybody. Have a
Y'all have a
blessed
good
one.
now.
See you later.
Like-
Bye.